Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, June the 9th, 2025. Hope you're safe and healthy today. Hope you enjoyed your weekend and that your family is safe and healthy and that they enjoyed their weekend. I hope that your family's needs are being met in terms of food, clothing, shelter, as well as health. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders to help every day, comfort people, and save lives. Help blessings upon those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also victims of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts that create the demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. This coming season is going to be different from the last 5 seasons. One of the major reasons this coming season is going to be different is because Tom Thibodeau is not coaching this coming season. The thing about Tom Thibodeau being the coach over the last 5 seasons is there was a rhythm and flow that's pretty much the same each season. Start off a little slow, build up into December, and start rolling after the All-Star break. That's generally the flow of a Tom Thibodeau season. And it's generally, as I mentioned many times, it's the flow of any defensive-oriented coach. I like to mention Eric Spoelstra in Miami. Similar situation with Eric Spoelstra. This season was an aberration from that for Miami because of the Jimmy Butler trade. That kind of ruined their season. But generally speaking, that is also the flow of Miami, another defensive-oriented team. And I'm not saying the Knicks won't be defensive oriented this coming season, but it's not going to be the exact same as Tom Thibodeau. One of the things, of course, every coach, what many people like to, especially in the land of Knicks Nation, which is a land that deals in extremes, generally. People like to say how stubborn Tom Thibodeau is. Every single great coach in the history of the NBA is stubborn. And what the question would be, what are they stubborn about? Okay? So every great coach is stubborn, which means there are things they believe in that they will not deviate from because they have found success in these principles they believe in, and they believe that these principles will help them win, which is the bottom line for every coach. Every coach wants to win. Every coach wants to win it all, okay? And so in Tom Thibodeau's case, it was, he was very rigid with respect to a limited, as we know, a limited rotation. He played his starters a lot of minutes, and his bigger stars like your Brunsons and your Towns, he played even more minutes, or Mikal Bridges, and he played even more minutes. He was really focused on defense, rebounding, those two things. So I'm not saying the new coach is not going to be focused on these areas. But the new coach, for example, I mentioned like last night's game was a good example. Last night, Oklahoma City beat the Pacers, 123-107 in Oklahoma City. Pacers came out of Oklahoma with what they wanted, a split, and now have home court advantage. But the thing about last night's game, which is very similar to the game before that, Rick Carlisle played a 10-man rotation. 10 guys played at least 10 minutes last night for Indiana. He had 7 guys in double figures last night. Okay, so they played at least, they had 10 guys playing at least 10 minutes, which is a 10-man rotation. And last night, he had 7 of those guys in double figures. Okay, that's pretty typical of Indiana. That's pretty typical of Indiana, and it's pretty typical also Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City last night played They play 8-guy. They have an 8-guy rotation where their bench was Isaiah Hartenstein, Brandon Carlson, and Aaron Wiggins. All of those 3 guys played 20 minutes or more for Oklahoma City last night. So they had an 8-man rotation, which is a little short of what they would normally do. Normally, Oklahoma City plays a 9-man rotation, very solid 9-man rotation. So my point in bringing that up is you're going to see the Knicks next year. They're going to be bringing at least 9 guys on rotation. You're going to see a consistent 9-man, if not 10-man rotation. Last night, for example, in the assist category, Oklahoma City had 25 assists. Indiana had 27 assists. You're going to see that also with the Knicks. You're going to see something in the above 25 on a regular basis in terms of assists. Okay. The biggest weakness is defense going into next season. And the reason for that weakness is 2 players, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Those are your 2 biggest weaknesses defensively in the New York Knicks rotation. Assuming the rotation will be very similar to what it is now with the addition of Wright, Landry Shamet, you're going to have Hart, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride. Your biggest defensive weaknesses are Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Now, what happened this year, which is going to happen next year, is teams are going to attack the Knicks in their biggest defensive weakness. Every team does that. So they're going to attack Brunson. They're going to attack Towns, especially in pick and rolls, and try to get buckets that way, and try to force Towns to commit stupid fouls so they can get him out the game. So now it's on Towns to mentally focus and improve. His improvement, when I say he has to work on something this summer, it's not like working on a hook shot, or a different move. He has to work on mentally being in the game so that he doesn't commit stupid fouls. That's number 1. He's not going to be all NBA defense, but we don't need him to be. What we need Towns to be is adequate on defense. He just needs to be adequate to help the Knicks get stops. The more stops he can help the Knicks get, the better. Now, what this means is, defensively speaking, the Knicks will have plenty. See, Towns, many people look at like a Towns situation, and they're almost looking at it as if Towns would be playing 48 minutes. He's not, okay? You're probably talking about, with respect to Karl-Anthony Towns, you're going to, this year, his minutes with about 36 a game. He's not going to do that next year. He's going to be playing somewhere, I would say, 32. Okay, maybe 32 minutes, which is perfect for him. Which means that you're going to have lots of sets where you're going to have guys like Mitchell Robinson on the floor, Deuce McBride, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. You're going to have defensive players in there. Brunson, as bad as he could be defensively, he is smart enough to fight enough to try to limit the other team from the positions that he's in. And he will. One thing about Brunson, different than Towns. Towns commits stupid fouls, non-basketball IQ fouls. Brunson doesn't do that. Brunson will miss assignments. He will be too slow to rotate, things like that. But he generally, very rarely makes an IQ mistake on defense. He does it sometimes offensively, which is another story. He has to be better in terms of utilizing his teammates next year. And this is an exciting thing about the possibility of a Jason Kidd becoming the coach. Kidd is an expert at making sure that all of his players on the floor are involved offensively and that they work in cohesion defensively. Very cerebral type of coach is Jason Kidd. And so that fits with a cerebral type of player like Jalen Brunson, okay? So what fit between Brunson and Tibbs was the toughness, okay? Brunson is tough, Tibbs is tough. Brunson never says die, neither does Tibbs. So in that regard, there was a fit. This is going to be a fit in a different way. This is a fit on the IQ level, on the intelligence quotient level. so that these two guys will be able to read each other, and this will cause Brunson to become more efficient. Now, with respect to Towns, Towns will be key in two areas: how he's utilized and his adjustment to be more efficient defensively. He's already a great rebounder. Towns is a great rebounder. He was in the leadership of rebounds all season long. He averaged 12 a game this season. There was a point where he was averaging 15 a game. When the Knicks won 9 straight, he was averaging like 15 rebounds a game. And remember, last year there was no training camp with Towns. That deal happened right before the beginning of the preseason. So this year you're going to have a training camp, you're going to have a summer, and you're going to, and I can 100% guarantee you one thing: whoever the coach is, and this is what I'm saying, the coach will probably be one of 3 guys. I mean, the 4 guys, but the 4th is, I keep saying, possible. You're talking about Ime Udoka, you're talking about Jason Kidd, and you're talking about Taylor Jenkins. You're talking about one of those guys. And then your possible would be Johnny Bryant. That's only if all of those other 3 are not available, okay, or for whatever reason. Because I could see Houston saying, no, you cannot talk to our coach, to the Knicks, okay? I don't see it as much in Dallas. I'd be surprised if Dallas did that. With all of the stupid moves they did, it would really be a bad look on their part when they ruined the team that Jason Kidd was coaching. They ruined it, basically, when they traded Luka Doncic and they made other moves that they have made. They have made it more difficult for him. So it makes sense that he would want to go to a better organization, which at this point, surprisingly enough, the Knicks are the more solid and better organization than Dallas right now. So it would make sense that he would want to get guaranteed contract money, 3, 4, 5 years from James Dolan, with a team that's ready to compete for a chip and be handed the keys to run it the way he wants to. That would be a very difficult thing for Kidd to say no to. So I think I can see that coming. And then, of course, Taylor Jenkins would be a dark horse, a really good coach, a tough coach, a defensive coach, that if for whatever reason the Kidd or Udoka don't work out, I think he would be an excellent choice also. A guy coming, a country boy coming from the Memphis team and coming into New York, big, tough dude, defensive-oriented dude. Not Tibbs, though. He also played 10 deep. And he did that a lot in Memphis. So that's going to be important. But Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be key here. And the thing is, don't think of Towns as somebody you need great defense from. You just need him to be adequate when he's on the floor. During the course of the regular season, the Knicks were +6 with Towns. +6. So when he's on the floor, they were 6 points better. They were -2 in the playoffs. I hate to use the word blame because Knicks Nation loves to use that word. But the combination of Brunson and Towns was negative in the playoffs because of Brunson. Okay? Brunson was forcing stuff. He was trying to take on more than he needed to. He wasn't playing with the IQ that Brunson is capable of playing with. I think that's going to change this year. So this year, I expect Towns to be even more effective and in the regular season and the playoffs. If you focus on and making sure, to me, the focal point of the offense has to be Towns. Because in the closing minutes, we already know Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year, and it ain't no joke. He is the best player in the last 5 minutes in the NBA. So that is when he would be more effective. Everybody's more tired. Games have been played. The game has been played. The weaknesses have been found out. Whoever's in foul trouble is in foul trouble. And then Brunson will pick you apart at that point. But leading to that point, you got to feed Towns the basketball. He's got to be fed the ball, and he's got to play with a high IQ, and I believe that's going to be the case. So we just need him to give us adequate defense for the times he's on the floor. Now, remember, there are going to be times when him and Mitchell Robinson share the floor. He'll be better defensively with Mitchell Robinson next to him. It won't be all the time, but it'll be adequate enough during this. Let's give him 32 minutes a game. Let's say if during those 32 minutes, probably 15 to 20 minutes, he shares the floor with Mitchell Robinson, okay? That's going to help. He's going to share the floor with There's going to be times when Brunson is off the floor, and you'll have Deuce or Shamet with him. You'll have defensive players that share the basketball on the floor with Towns. That's going to be great too. So his defensive limitations will be aided by the lineups he plays with. And a smart coach, which all of the guys I named are very smart. Okay, these ain't no dummies coaches. These are all smart dudes. They all got stubborn streaks, and they got things they're going to want to stick to that people ain't going to like. But overall, they know what the hell they're doing. And that being the case, I think we can expect an improved Karl-Anthony Towns. The biggest thing for Towns coming into this next season, aside from what I already mentioned in terms of his overall IQ defensively, the biggest thing for him is health. Whatever the problem was with his knee, got to get that taken care of this summer, okay? That's a big one. He has to come in healthy. Whatever he needs to do in terms of diet, exercise, the most important aspect for the whole Knicks team in the 25-26 season is health. Health is what is a detriment to most teams that don't fulfill their promise. Injuries, okay? And that's why one thing you can say what you want about Tibbs, he wanted guys that were available. He didn't want to be dealing with high names, high talent that can't play because they're hurt all the time. He wants a guy that's there all the time and ready, okay? And the Knicks were good at that during his tenure. And so that is a key here. OG, I know he played 74 games last year, averaged 39, 37 minutes a game. That was a tremendous season. I'm just really, holding my breath and hoping we can get OG a healthy 72 games this year. And if we could do that, that's a big one also. Mikal Bridges, we are spoiled. He's an 82-game-a-year player. He wants to continue doing that. I think he's going to be better because he's going to play less minutes this year. And I think everybody is going to be better. This is the thing. In the league, with everybody, every player, let's name like the top player. Let's say in his prime, before the injury, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, for the Celtics, has a role. His role, you wouldn't call him a role player, but he has a role. His role is to score. Okay, so he's going to take the most shots of any Celtic. He's going to get the most one-on-one opportunities. He's going to get the most clear-outs. He's going to get the most touches. That's his role. That's why they're paying him $50 million a year. Okay, and he's going to do that. On the other hand, you take, say, for example, Peyton Pritchard. His role is to come off the bench and score. Okay, he's a bench scorer. That's what he's supposed to do. He's being paid a good amount of money to come off the bench for the Celtics and score. Okay, to try to score without making a lot of mistakes. That's what you want from him. So that's what he's being paid to do. So that my point is, everybody from the superstars to the last guy in the rotation has a role. And the more they play that role on a consistent basis, and this was reportedly from Ian Begley, this was some of the gripes that players had with Tibbs. They didn't have a consistent role. Tibbs would sometimes call on people suddenly for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Especially this was true of Precious Achiuwa. He was not given a consistent role during the season. That hurts a player's development. It hurts their effectiveness. When a player knows he's going to play X number of minutes a game, and he knows this is going to be the case regardless, that helps him because now he knows how to prepare. He knows what his role is. He knows what's expected of him. And then he can get comfortable in that role. See, so hopefully if they keep Precious, he will have a more consistent role with the team this year. Like I said, I'm expecting a 10-man rotation, at least 9 this year. And I think we're going to get that. I don't know Precious if he's going to be on the team or not. There are people out here writing that he's likely he won't be. But see, if y'all know me, I pay very little attention to any writer. I don't care what their stupid opinions are, except Ian Begley and Champs. That's it. I don't really pay attention to somebody says, well, this is going to be this and this trade is going to have. I don't even look at most of that. That's why when y'all bring it to me, it gets me a little perturbed because I don't want to hear it. I don't care what. Everybody gets paid to write their opinion, and they get paid to make you click on them. Okay? And most of it is full of crap. And so I don't want to hear it, especially in clickbait season, which we at now. We're going to be in clickbait season all the way until training camp. Okay. So this is what it is. It's the same every year. So, I'm hoping that they can keep Precious. Looking at it financially, like I said, I don't think nobody going to give Precious more than $8 million a year. And I'm not saying he ain't worth that. But in the open market, I don't know. We have to see. I hope he gets as much money as he can. But I don't see it. So it's a positive. To me, it's 50-50. He can be gone or he can come back. It's 50-50. There's no guarantee he's here, and there's no guarantee he's gone. It really depends on the incoming coach's view of Precious Achiuwa. The reason I'm mentioning him now is because, to me, if you utilize him, if he gets a consistent 15 minutes a game, and he knows he's going to get that, he's going to be a really good player. And then that, not only that, when somebody's hurt, like, all right, so Karl-Anthony Towns, generally, he's going to probably play, you're going to get 72 games out of him, right? Which is about what you expect. So, you got 72 games this year. You probably get 72 games next year. Hopefully he's healthy for 72, which means there's going to be 12 games or 10 games that he's not playing. This is where Precious comes in, okay? This is where he fills in very nicely for Karl-Anthony Towns, okay? Or if somebody like a Jalen Brunson sprains his ankle really bad and is missing 3 weeks, you want to have another guard ready, which is why you got your Shamets and you got your Wrights, who filled in very well in April for Jalen Brunson. So you need that kind of situation. And I think Precious could fulfill that very well. And Precious, unlike Karl-Anthony Towns, is good on defense. Karl-Anthony Towns is not, but Precious, nobody's Karl-Anthony Towns offensively, right? Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the most unguardable fives in all of basketball. So that's that. But Precious is much better defensively. So as part of a defensive unit, he would fit very well, I feel like. So we'll see. But Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be key. Health-wise, he has to come in healthy. Also, he has to have his mindset. He doesn't have to be able to guard Giannis. He just has to be able to guard somebody for a limited time on the floor. He's going to need help. Again, this is where your Mitchell Robinsons, your Ariel Hukportis, your Precious Achiuwas might come in, because they can support Karl on the defensive side of the floor and on the boards, all of those guys, okay? So that's going to be important. Karl-Anthony Towns is in his prime, which for us means in the beginning of this season, he is the guy that nobody can guard, whichever team we play. It doesn't matter who we play. Chet Holmgren can't guard him. This Raymond Men can't guard him. Al Horford can't guard him. None of those guys could guard him. So what they're going to try to do, again, this is not going to change. They're going to put a smaller, tougher guy on him. The Knicks are going to know that, okay? The coach is going to know that. And that's what I'm saying. A guy like Jason Kidd's going to have a game plan for that, okay? They're going to try to put your Neesmiths on him. They're going to put your Jalen Browns. They're going to put your Jason Tate. They're going to try all kind of gimmicks to stop him. But watch, between Jalen Brunson and if it's Jason Kidd, the Knicks will pick teams apart when they try to do that, okay? They will pick teams apart. And so that's going to be beautiful to watch. I'm excited about the upcoming season. We don't even know who the coach is, but the possibilities of Udoka, Kidd, and Jenkins, I'm very excited, especially Kidd. I'm excited about Kidd. He's my second choice, but I'm excited about him because of how much brains he uses to coach the team and get the most out of his players. This particular team that the Knicks have, and again, I call it the Mercedes-Benz. You're talking about the Bentley. We got that type of team. You can't just, give the keys to a Bentley to somebody that's never drove something like luxurious before, because they might dent it. It's a very expensive vehicle, you know what I'm saying? So no, you can't have that. Can't have it. You got to basically have somebody that's experienced with luxury vehicles. That would be Jason Kidd, Ime Udoka, okay, or Taylor Jenkins, somebody that's been in the battles before and has coached guys like John Morant, Jason Tatum, has coached guys like Luka Doncic and knows how to win with them. So that's what you want here. You don't want no rookie coaches or no pie in the sky. I mean, I can't believe people are mentioning Rajon Rondo. Do you know how much of an a-hole he is? What do y'all even mention him for? Or the soft, smooth Sam Cassell? That ain't what we need in New York. We need somebody with status, somebody that could stand strong against the Stephen A. Stupids in the world, answer their dumbass questions, and put his game plan together and don't care what anybody thinks about it. That's what I like about Tibbs. And I like it about Jason Kidd. But we talking about Karl-Anthony Towns today. He will. If you get the right guy, the Knicks are gonna pick teams apart this year. It's gonna be beautiful to watch, especially with Towns if he's healthy. God forbid, he should be healthy. Okay, so yeah. So that's what's exciting. But he has to. It's a mentality shift for him and Jalen Brunson. It's a mentality shift for both of them. But with Towns, the offensive power he provides, the defense, the rebounding he brings, the passing ability he brings to the table, I'm excited about what can be done with that talent, with the right coach. And I think that coach is Jason Kidd, but we'll see. We're going to know soon, though. We're going to know soon. I think we'll know before the draft. I don't think the Knicks, even though this draft don't matter as much to the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks are going to go into the draft without a head coach. So we'll find out shortly. This is going to be a pretty big week because this week we will find out if Dallas gives the Knicks permission to interview anybody, whoever. If they can interview Udoka, if they can interview Kidd, or whoever. This is the week you start to find out who they can interview. This is the week you'll start to hear more prominently names that are being mentioned from Ian Begley, that you'll hear about that. So this is a pretty big week, and next week as well. So I don't think it's going to be too quiet on that front. I think you're going to hear stuff. And like I said, if it's not Begley, beware. Y'all enjoy your Monday. Shalom.